Hi, Sports Paul here with a follow-on to my last Surfside condo collapse video. I wasn't going to do another one, but there's a hoax running around that somebody put in the comments that I wanted to bring your attention to. It's this picture here you can see on the screen. It's like, oh wow, they caught it when the deck collapsed, but before the 7 seconds, they had a picture. This is a Photoshop job. You can tell. I'll go over all the reasons why this is a Photoshop and more reasons why I'm pretty sure it's a hoax. So that's the first thing up. Then let's see what's next. Water table map. Where would that be? Here. Building integrity, Josh Porter, great guy. People kept telling me, go look at it. I watched his video. So I thought I could add something showing, here's some water table maps that I found. And you can go look in the area of Surfside, which is right here. And you can see, well, it's about, at the most 8 feet, as little as 2. So let's get back here. Next, the sister building mystery. See, I want to challenge my hypothesis that, oh, the water from the planter and the weight of the planter did it. So the sister building mystery, as I call it, here's Surfside, or what do they call it? Not Seacrest, the north building, the sister building, okay? Here's the same exact planter with the same square. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Same square planter boxes that may or may not have been added. People are arguing. Certainly the same big planter. It's a little different. The building's smaller. It's in a different location. But if the planners did it, why didn't this one collapse? They did an emergency inspection and they said, oh no, this building's fine. And we'll go through the Google Earth here, the history, and we'll show, yeah, there were palm trees in these planters, just like there were in the south planters that I showed in my previous video. And those palm trees got taken out at the exact same time, sometime in the last half of 2017. So, sinkhole hypothesis. Some people are saying it was a sinkhole underneath the garage deck, right? Below, not just the pool deck, but underneath where the cars parked below. And that dropped out, that let the column fall. This would explain why I couldn't see a column when I looked in the garage video, why it just seemed to be gone. So I looked up a bunch of sinkhole stuff, and all this stuff will be linked, except for this hoax video. I'll put that link, but I'll put it right at the end of the description because I find it reprehensible. So here's the soils, we'll go over yellow, green. It's somewhere right in between yellow and green. Yellow's trouble. That's carbonate rock. Green, sandy, may or may not be a problem. And then we'll go through all these others that show, specific sinkhole. This says there's none. This University of South Florida. So we'll go through all of these. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, for engineers, shear. How so many people in the comments of the last video, how could this happen? How could the whole building come down? How could this happen? Well, imagine a brick held up by a bunch of toothpicks. Obviously, you push that brick in either direction, it'll just flop over. All the toothpicks will just flop over. They have no shear. Even if you pack the toothpicks cheek to jowl and there was a little friction between them, it'd be a little harder, but they'd go right over. That's why you want walls, and better yet, walls with corners. And we'll explain that and how shear explains why the building fell just as it did. Then the last thing, I'll go over the various hypotheses, my own, all the others, all legitimate, all could be right or wrong or partially, probably partially, for me at least. So we'll go through that. So let's get to it. Chapter 2, let's go through this hoax video. Okay, so in the comments, here's the hoax video. In the comments to my last video, which I was just going to do a one-shot video, somebody left, I can tell you exactly who it was. Koopmeister, 23 hours ago. Thank you for your analysis. Very interesting. I wonder if you could apply your video editing skills to this video. About 30 seconds in, it shows the pool deck. It's dark and hard to see, but it looks like it has collapsed. And then he links here. And 30 seconds in, I did what I did before, and that's what I opened this video with. I expanded it, took a screen grab right at 30 seconds. You press print screen key on your keyboard. I went into IrfanView, my free image viewer program that anybody can go download. Let's do Control Z. Let's Control scroll wheel and go out. Okay, here's the screen grab, and I left a little bit. I have a 4-screen monitor, 4-monitor setup. So I left the little edges so you can kind of get an idea. This is the screen grab. And then what worked best, the auto adjust colors, that didn't work that well. But color corrections, all you have to do is add some gamma. Oh, wow, look. And then maybe a little bit of contrast, and boom, there we are. And you can zoom in, and oh my gosh, it's broken here. It's broken here. The planter's on its side and twisted. Cars are down here. Okay, here's why I am very confident this is a Photoshop job. First, the image itself. Let's just look at the facts. If you look at the post-collapse pictures, and I'm not going to publish them because somebody else took those, this edge isn't right. Now, it cuts back further, but there is a piece you could say, well, maybe if that piece that's on the floor, that happened after, and if you move it up, it still doesn't form this edge. Next, over here, with this white car up here, it doesn't look like that. This area is wrong. The other thing, I'm not sure of this, but the pool cabana here, I don't see that in any of the post-collapse videos, but in a real estate picture, and this isn't a video, see, they play it off like a video, but it's a still image that the person does a Ken Burns on, where he's just zooming in and going up. And then, let's see, what else, okay, the punch-through columns here, a little too uniform, a little too perfect. What's all this garbage down at the bottom, these blocks? The planter, then this is why I'm overly sensitive maybe. This would refute my thing. This would look like the deck came down first and the planter twisted and then came down. But I think the reason the planter is twisted like this, it's concrete down to the floor. It's not going to fall like this. I think the reason that happened is because that's how Photoshop, that's how the person tried to give the impression that it fell. These columns are too big, right? There's a whole bunch of things that say this is wrong. That's the factual just part of the image. Now let's Control Z. Okay, this is a trick when people used to bootleg movies. You brighten the center and darken it here, and then the Google algorithms that are looking for bootleg copyright violations don't flag it because it's all dark around the edges. So this has been done purposefully to hide this. Worse yet, if you go look at that, maybe we can do it real time. Go here. How do we do that? Okay, do F5, restart this. This is the splash screen. Notice how in the splash screen, he's got it all bright. Okay? And it's very clear. Now, I thought when I looked at this a day ago, the splash screen wasn't all brightened, and I'm pretty sure YouTube lets you go in after you post the video and change the splash screen. So this is just like taunting, and I think the person's really upset because all the columns, all the comments are this is great. The woman who pointed out that the Spanish in the garage side garage video, when that woman starts crying in the video she took after the collapse, she says in Spanish, they've all died. It's breaking me up now. So he's getting all these comments about decent people who haven't fallen for the hoax. So maybe that's when him or a buddy posts to hey, do your video editing skills, and you can see it. So let's go to 30 seconds. I'm not going to play it. Oop, turn it off. And, if you watch Antiques Roadshow, they say the one thing you can't fake is provenance. So where did this video came from? Who is this guy? A few subscribers. It's not monetized. He's not doing it for the money. His channel has music, a couple of music videos and things like that. I don't know, but it has no provenance, or we'd know of this picture, right? Who took it? It had to be from a drone. That's the other thing. If you look at Google Earth, there's no place a still camera or a security camera could be to get this angle. I think it's a real estate picture from a drone, or a drone picture that just happened to be taken, and the Photoshop skills applied. Let me go back to Irfan view. The Photoshop skills applied, they could have put the windows in. They could have done a lot of this stuff. So, and this is the other thing that gets me on the hoax thing. When that comment by Koopmeister was posted, I stopped what I was doing. I went and looked at this video. I got excited. Oh God, this is important. I should tell people. Then I realized, wait a minute, this is a scam. So then I posted that to Koopmeister's comment. No, sorry, it's a Photoshop job. Here's why, blah, 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 all these things I'm telling. That comment disappeared. I think maybe commenters are allowed to take their comments off in YouTube. But someone else came who, before Koopmeister took my comment down, and said, oh, thanks for this. I posted it too. Thanks for explaining it's a Photoshop job. So all of these things, the fact that it's purposefully manipulated to be discovered, classic hoax, scam, and I am not going to do what I've told other people, assign motives, why anyone would do this. But I do tell you what I think. I think it's incredibly cruel and incredibly childish. So that's the warning I wanted to give you. Next thing, let's get on to something more productive. Water table map. That is here. So this is Submerging Sunshine, okama.net. Submerging Sunshine is the subdomain. Like I say, all these links will be down there. This is that you can click on the thing, it expands it. You can click on here and it expands it again because Firefox is great. This is where the condos are. You know, you look in Google Earth, will verify that. You can verify it, right? It's right here. So I think the condo is on the yellow, not the darker color. But that gets to the reason I got interested in this. Everybody in my comments was saying, watch building integrity. And I tried twice, days ago, and it just didn't seem to get moving quick enough, and my attention span's too short. Well, this video I watched completely. What secrets will be uncovered? This is Josh Porter, real structural engineer, unlike me. And Josh is saying the water table was above the floor of the garage. And I'm like, well, I can help, justify or prove that, even though it might challenge my hypothesis. Hey, we're all trying to help, right? So I found this one, and it says, like I say, the condo's right here, probably on this yellow. That's 5 to 8 feet down, which is still above the floor deck, right? Which would explain why the pumps are failing. Josh thinks that the foundations underneath that deck is what collapsed. And that took down the column. Maybe he thinks it's the same column as I think, and Jeff Ostroff thinks, not sure how to say it, under the planter. So, not really the planter, but a sinkhole. And then the sinkhole caused the planter, and the planter took down the deck, and then the deck took down the building. So there's another one I wanted to show you. This is ResearchGate, USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. So I'm not afraid of copyright here because it's government stuff. Not as useful. With Firefox, you can go up here and control scroll wheel. Sometimes it gets confused and does stuff like that. But it's hard to see what's going on there, right? But it's still showing there's not a ton of water table, right? The white is no data. So I thought I would add that to the conversations. The link will be down below. Next, the sister building mystery. Let's go to Google Earth. Here it is. Same planner, same stuff. Didn't collapse. Why not, right? Here's sister Champlain Towers North. That's the name. Champlain Towers East, I believe, is this one, the hotel where that lady took the video into the garage. And then here's the building that collapsed. And while we're here, I can take off 3D buildings, do U for upright. Why is it not working? U for upright, and N for north. And you can see that hoax image, you'd have to be up in space somewhere around here. Engineers have good spatial sense, so it's not like somebody in the upper floor of this building was taking it, right? Let's go back to 3D buildings. Come up here. Here's the sister building, Champlain North. I forget, different programs work different. So let's do our same thing that we did with the history. Okay, and we'll show you the palm trees. Where is it? Historical imagery. No palm trees. You go back to 2016, you can kind of see, not quite as clear, there's palm trees in those planters, just like the sister building. That's definitely, you can see it's a palm tree, right? This is the beginning of 2017. This is a little obscured. Definitely palm trees in May of 2017. Then some time in the last part of 2017, the palm trees are gone. So to challenge my previous hypothesis, how come this planter didn't cause how could they inspect it and not see all the same damage? It's a newer building, but that's something I wanted to show. The sinkhole hypothesis, let's go real quick here. That's all of these. Take a little more time now. The building is somewhere. Control, zoom up. It might be in the yellow. See, they're not really showing that spit of land out there. But if it's in the yellow, that's trouble, because yellow is thinly covered carbonate rocks. So thinly covered, you dig a parking garage, you've taken the cover off, now you're on carbonate rocks that can disintegrate. And the great Josh Porter has explained in this particular video, what secrets will be uncovered, how the parking floor can stay and water can erode material underneath that. So watch that video. No need for me to bootleg it. If it's the green, that's a little bit better. Permeable sand, this would account for the building dropping maybe a couple inches. Different people, a millimeter a year or 2 millimeters a year. But it's not like a whole thing drops. Now, one problem with, well, what makes a sinkhole attractive is it could have just dropped that one column where the planter was and took down the building, because the other columns are okay. They punched through, right? Those columns didn't fall into the earth. So here, go real quick. I looked for show me specific sinkholes. So this is available, Collective Commons. That's great, research great. All the links will be down there. We can maybe expand it this way. Not really any sinkhole shown here where the condo is. Florida sinkhole, very high. See, up by me here in Tampa. Up here in Tampa. This is Seffner. Look up Seffner sinkhole, where a whole house collapsed and killed a guy. So it's not considered, it's a moderate risk there with some higher risk, but not where the condo is. Next, okay, this is USF, University of South Florida. Miami-Dade County sinkholes, there doesn't show any, right? There's no sinkholes here. I thought these little dots, oh, those are in. If you read here, it's like, those are cities. So, the dot by the condo is just city of Surfside. So this doesn't call them out. And, this is that provenance thing again. I trust the University of South Florida. This is another University of South Florida thing. It's a hand-drawn map, so it's a little hard. The condo, I think, is right up about here. And it's showing Atlantic Coastal Ridge. This is, I believe, hard rock, okay? So that's good, solid. Sandy flatlands, not too good. This speckled thing where the condo is, coastal marshes and mangrove swamps. That's not too good, right? But this is Josh Porter's thing about, well, that's why you run piles down till you get to either 100% resistance or hit the Atlantic Coastal Ridge and then have something strong with compressive strength to put the building on top. This is a private company, Foundation Services. Link will be down below. It's showing a ton. And this is CDS, which is like an insurance consortium to help insurance companies in their insurance and homeowners when you buy a home. It's showing a bunch of red dots there. So, it's a CDS clearinghouse sinkhole. So that says, yeah, there's a bunch of them right there. Doesn't show the spit of land where the condo's built, unfortunately. Sinkholes by county, same thing. There's a couple of them. Let's see if we can expand. No, this is Pinterest. They're just trying to get people to join. Last one here is risk meter. Shows, there's some sinkholes here inland, but they don't show any on the spit of land. Riskmeter.com. This is Florida Homeowners Insurance Info.com. Link will be down below, right? And then there's this one, the first one I came on, Sinkhole Maps. They want you to join, give them a credit card. They show you, if in Google, they'll show the map and you can look at that, but it's not the real map. It's just the Dade County map where the outline of the county is red and it looks like it's all red on the coast. If you try to get this PDF, they want you to do a browser add-in for Yahoo. So, don't be fooled again. It's nothing wrong with this site. It's no information to me. So those are the sinkhole things. Shear. Let's talk about shear. A bunch of toothpicks and a brick. It's pretty easy. Anyone with common sense, you push that brick in any direction at all, and the brick will just fall over. All those toothpicks will just flop over. This is what you call a shear. There's no shear, right? When all my construction buddies talk about shear requirements and nailing schedules and how you got a bunch of studs have the same problem. Studs in a wall will just collapse like that. That's why you put drywall to a little bit of help on one side, but exterior plywood on the other. And the nailing schedules are getting down to like 2.5 inches now because the more nails you have, the more resistance you have to that shear, pulling it over like this. So there was very little shear in that part of the building that collapsed first. They were just columns. That's why it went first. To me, it looks like a progressive collapse going towards the back. The back part that went a half a second later, well, it had, if you look in the plans like Jeff Ostro's videos and that, you can look in the garage and there are walls where the parking deck goes down. I think that provided just that little bit of structure and a little bit of strength, so it held that back part up for a half a second, and then it got overwhelmed and the whole thing came down. The right, when I say right, I mean the eastern part of the building that lasted for a few seconds and then came down. That had like a stairwell or more structure, more walls. And, you know, a wall here, okay, that's good for shear. A wall here is good for shear in the other direction, and then vector, they add up. But best of all is when there's corners. And you'll see, if you understand construction at all, corners are your friends. You know, you don't want windows or doors too close to the corner because you've taken that multiple structure out where shear in both orthogonal directions are. So the part that stayed, that had that big, you know, and people are calling it a shear wall, right? That had that big elevator and staircase concrete structure that wasn't on pogo sticks. It was all the way down to the base. So that's why that remains standing. So that answers that. The last thing, or just summarize the theories, well, they're hypotheses because they haven't been proved. There's testable parts to all these, but nothing's been proven until the final report comes out. My thing, the planter, the watering from the planter, the fertilizer in the planter, the palm trees in the planter, damages the concrete, weight of the planter comes down, takes down the rest of the deck, pulls down the building. A lot of people are saying, no, that's all wrong, and that's fine. The cars on the top deck, the cars parked on the pool deck over on the other side, they came down, took the deck down, the deck took the planters down, then the building 7 seconds later. Next is, well, the deck was first. The planter and the cars came after that. The deck, all those punch throughs. The deck was all wet and corroded and not enough, who knows if it was construction problems. But the deck came down. It pulled the cars down on one side by the building that still stood, pulled the planter down where I could see in that garage in my last video. And then the building comes down because beams under those planters connected the pool deck structure to the building structure. And we'll look for some changes in the building code after this. Then there's Josh Porter's whole thing, which is a very valid thing because he's got experience. He's a structural engineer. You can't discount anything he says. He's like, no, go down further. You know, stop focusing on the deck and look at the garage floor. What happened underneath there? And there it's like, well, the garage floor collapsed. And he says there's a witness that said there was a chasm that opened up in the floor of the garage. And I haven't seen that. I don't have cable TV. So a thing opened up in the garage. This would also explain why I don't see the pillar. It's completely gone. It's vaporized. So did damage to the foundation, or maybe a sinkhole, take that pillar all the way down through the floor of the garage, planter comes out on top, then the rest of the deck goes, then the building. So all of these can be valid. I'm not in love with my hypothesis. That Richard Feynman guy says the duty is to challenge. And that's why I wanted to show that sister building. Why didn't that one fall? It's got a planter, right? It's watered. It's got palm trees. So Sportster Paul here. I want this to be the last video. It's just I got so upset at trying to be played for a fool by that hoax video. I said, you know what? And after they erased my comment pointing it out in my own video, then it's like, okay, I'm going to do this video. So I hope I haven't bored you. Catch you next time. Bye now.